planet to a mothership? How do they communicate with... Can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were? Were you given food?
But the teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
What a strange person.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be?
What's outside the simulation?
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not maybe know the ultimate truth about that. I see that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I enjoy not.
Welcome.
Broadcasting live from New York, upstate near the Great Lakes. It's Lighting the Void, and I'm your host, Joe Ruth, and we're live on Fringe.fm, KTLK Digital Broadcasting. Thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry I wasn't here last night. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. If it's your first time listening to the show is live, raw, unscreened calls, 1-800-588-0335. That's the calling number. So it just happened in real time. Anything goes. And that's for sure. That's how we do things. If you want to support the show, please do so. God knows we could use it. Go to Lighting the Void. LightingTheVoid.com and click on the Patreon banner, or make a one-time donation. Grab something from our swag box there, or get you a altar box. And the altar boxes so here's the thing about my store too. People are starting to learn. It takes some time to get your stuff, especially if you order altar box. But when you get it, it's totally worth it. It's like the best stuff on the planet. It's the best swag you can get. And the people that listen to the show are the best people on the planet. You can go to fringe.fm/chat room, and you can join our Discord server there. It looks like Hope finally made it in. Hope's been trying to get in here as one of our patrons too. We also have the mighty Rohan with us tonight, and I got to tell you, Rohan, I thought I was dead last night. Dude, I thought I was dead. D-E-D, dead. For real.
Done for. Really? Is that bad, Joe? I was a bit worried about you, but I know you work hard. Got to get some sleep here and there, haven't you?
It wasn't even sleep, man. I'm telling you, so my stomach wasn't feeling good. I wasn't really feeling good to begin with for yesterday, the day before. So I took some, let's just say, natural medicine, right? Okay. And kind of passed out. I passed out about like 6:30 in the afternoon or in the evening. Woke back up, and it was well past midnight, and every fluid, I'm not going to get into detail here.
Yeah.
But every ounce of fluid in my body was not going to stay. So it was it was like when you go back to those parties where you're just puking, rally, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I went to the gas station, got in my car, went and got some over-the-counter stuff and these big bottles of water. and kind of puked the first one up, and then drank some until it started kind of settling, till I could sleep. I even took a sleeping pill just so I could go back to sleep. It was crazy, man.
Them ones are horrible. It's like, say, you think you're over, it's over, innit? Especially if you're living on your own as well. You're like, no one's even gonna know. I'm gonna die alone.
I thought I was gonna die, really. And here's the thing: being this far away, like I used to think, oh, I'm tough, man. I can be sick, but back home, I had family around. I had my dad, Corbin. When my grandmother was alive, she was across the street. There was somebody I could call, or somebody that could help me, if something went down. I really started freaking out, man, because I was thinking, I'm going to like croak out here, dude, I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments, but I've had like maybe 5 or 6 of those moments in my life where you're just kind of alone and you're thinking, this is it, man. This is it.
I had it one time. I had it one time when I was a teen, and I'd started this new job. And it was, and they didn't really have anything. I was a trainee electrician, doing panel wiring, and they didn't really have jobs for us to do to start with. They weren't really set up. So this just shove us under the racking to collect bolts up just for something to do. So I got loads of dust, and I was obviously got some bacteria in there. And I think I got the flu or something. But everyone was away. I was on my own. And I really thought I was going to die. I know what you're talking about. I really thought I was done. And everything felt wrong. I thought my cells were dying. I couldn't even smoke. It was that bad.
It's even worse, though. Like, it makes everything so much worse when you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, well, you got Ryan there. No, you can't call Ryan at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's not going to work. He's not going to pick up the phone,
Yeah,
and then you'd be like, man, can you take me to the ER? He'd be like, well, I don't know. I got a schedule. He's like, thanks, buddy.
Exactly. It's the same with me. It's like, technically, you got a neighbour next door that's known you since you was a baby, but you don't think that, do you? You think, no, it's people in your immediate life. If they're not here, what are you going to do? Sort of thing.
So the older you get, I think you start realizing, man, there's so much stuff that I have to do to take care of my. It was a really, in an odd way, I'm kind of grateful that I got that sick.
Yeah.
Because it opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And I know that sounds weird, though, doesn't it? Like, you had an epiphany.
I don't know. Not to me. I think we get these little mini jolts, don't we? We get big ones. We get force hammer sometimes, don't we? And then we get these little mini ones. I think little markers to just nudge us, little reminders.
So tonight we're supposed to talk about OBEs and multidimensionality with Kim McCall. Hopefully we've rescheduled Ralph Havens to come back on. I really did not want to miss that show, right, at all. But it happened. Things happen, and I don't know. My phone is dead, but I don't know if Pacho rescheduled Kim McCall or not. I hope he's coming on. We're going to find out. If not, we're still going to do a show. So there you go. But we got to get back into this OBE stuff, man, and traveling in consciousness. Like this, what this show's about is the human potential and opening doors up for you. Figuring out that there's more to you than just what you see, touch, smell, see, and hear, and all this stuff that's going on in the world, and all your material existence that's just such a stressful thing to you, and all your problems. That's you, but it's a very small part of who you are, actually. And we got to get back there. Speaking of which, let's talk about the big and scary real quick. U.S. spy agencies warn of threats from digital currency to AI. This came out with Bloomberg. The U.S. intelligence community predicts an increasingly leaderless and unstable world in the coming decades as trends such as artificial intelligence, digital currencies, and climate change reshape the global arena. And this is according to, check this out, the National Intelligence Council. Have you heard of this group?
No.
For all we know, the National Intelligence Council could be the new world order that everybody's worried about. The National Intelligence Council is the Center for Midterm and Long-Term Strategic Thinking within the United States intelligence community. Who is this? Who are these people?
It's been around since 1979, apparently.
So what they're saying is the coming decades will be characterized by a mismatch between global challenges and the ability of institutions and systems to respond According to Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. The result will be greater contestation at every level, especially between the U.S. and China. So that's where we're all going to be. Artificial intelligence and global currencies and the space race. It's just going to be U.S. versus China all the time.
What hasn't didn't is it JP Morgan and Chase? JP Morgan, those people, didn't they say something recently today? The banking people are saying, "Oh, there's something wrong with America, and we think China knows it." Like a little predictive programming hint. They're in charge now. You know what I'm saying? And the UK, I noticed something from the UK. It kind of relates to that. It was a bit shocking. Is that they've already been saying like since June 2019. I found this UK government website, and it was on about. Basically, it's not saying the fourth industrial revolution is already here. They're already talking about it. They've been talking about it for ages. It says here that the fourth industrial revolution is of a scale and speed and complexity that's unprecedented, and it will be characterized by a fusion of technologies such as artificial intelligence, gene editing, advanced robotics, and it's blurring the line between the physical, the digital, and the biological worlds.
Well,
and it's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going. You know? Okay.
Well, this is what they're saying.
It's right? That's one, but it's one thing saying it, Joe, isn't it? I want £1 million right now. No.
The national government will have reduced flexibility to deal with challenges such as climate change in the face of growing debt burdens and increasingly diverse trading rules. Digital currencies, the U.S. dollar and the euro will face threats from digital currencies such as Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to become the enemy. Privately issued digital currencies could add complexity to the conduct of monetary policy by reducing blah, 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 blah. Here's what's going to happen, folks. Get ready for this. The government knows that all of this stuff is going to take over, that Bitcoin's hitting 60 grand and they're projecting these coins to be worth like 100,000. Even some people saying they're, going to be up to 1 million. So the government is going to try to scare everybody away from Bitcoin and then make their own safe digital currency. That's what's coming. So get ready for it.
Safe with the capital theft.
Yeah, because the government does not. We have the power. This is what they do. Once we start doing things or independent things start kind of taking over, they make sure that they get involved with it, just like they did with Elon Musk and everything else. Like. The government is not going to allow anything to be more powerful than them. You'll see.
Yeah, because they're already doing they've abandoned us already. They already want their breakaway thing, don't they? Trying to sell it to us as, it's going to be such an amazing future. It's not for you, but
It's all over the Drudge Report. There's 9 different articles about, Thiel declares Bitcoin a Chinese financial weapon, and it's a threat to banks, and blah, blah, blah. It's coming. I mean,
but at the same time, like I say, at the same time that they're already saying, the social media score in China is working really well, and we need that, and then they'll say, it's not working properly, so we need to do facial scans, and it goes.
Now they want The Rock to run for president. The Rock says
the wrestler, wrestler guy.
That's there's a whole bunch of people wanting him to run for president. Is that what it's going to turn to now?
What is it? What, for any particular reason? Why has it got political or something?
Nearly 50% of Americans want Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to run for president. A new poll suggests that many Americans want The Rock to run for president in the future. 30,138 people that was polled between April 2nd and the 4th, and found that 46% of the Americans would like to see the retired WWE wrestler make the White House his home. Oh, God. Wow. This is what we're going to turn to. It's going to turn to where celebrities are going to be presidents now. It's all going to start with Trump.
Well, it's an idea that if that's happening, you got 3 times that in downloads last month. So why don't you run for president, Joe?
I'll run for president. I don't care. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. What? There's so much. This is a crazy month, man. Check this out. Religious leader arrested on suspicion of sexual assault during an exorcism. Get out, demons. Get out of the body. It doesn't matter what I'm trying to put in your body, but let's going to get the demons out. Phil Hendry used to make fun of that. It's not American, guys. Some crazy third world country, so that's to be expected. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So do you see why I always want to talk about the human potential and what we can do through consciousness and stuff? Because all the stuff just gets crazy.
And it's our sort of job to do that, and it's better when we do, because then it's like maybe all our stuff, and it's that thing like you're like earning something. This is our maturation stage for becoming adults, isn't it? That's what it is. As far as I'm concerned, the species is going from adolescence to being fully fledged adults. If you can step up.
Villagers gather to wake the dead in a bizarre ritual involving dousing a corpse in water. That's another third world country kind of thing. I don't really want to. 56% of the people say the pandemic ruined their sex life. Well, it definitely ruined mine.
Yeah, ruined mine. Yeah.
Let's see. That's the majority of the news today, I think. Anything special did you see today?
Not really, no, because I've been trying to avoid it until like just recently. I've been trying to get back in on it. Yeah, I took a break from all European news for like 4 months.
Do you know why gorillas? Here's something interesting. Do you know why gorillas beat their chest? Honestly,
I don't know.
That's how they size each other up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When you go to the zoo and you see them poke their chest out, and they're like doing that stupid stuff, right? By the way, if you ever see a man do that, he's not very evolved. Don't let him fool you. But so here's the thing, and if you see a woman doing it, I don't know what to tell you on that one. But gorillas beat their chests to size each other up, researchers say. Chest beating behavior in male gorillas allows them to signal their size and avoid fights with larger rivals. So they're beating their chest to like scare off larger gorillas. But it's a thing that we've always used, like in movies where they're like, beating their chest or whatever, from King Kong to Tarzan. But the pounding action is less about craziness that like Hollywood shows. They've studied these male mountain gorillas. They say when they beat on their chest, it's kind of to show off, but it also provides real, honest information. They're saying that it's definitely real. It's a reliable signal that male gorillas are conveying their true size by doing this. And they've really researched this stuff, which is, I don't know how they could do that. So Wright and colleagues report how they studied chest beating in 6 adult male mountain gorillas in the volcanoes. This was in Rwanda. The team used a camera setup involving 2 parallel green lasers, a known distance apart, to determine the breadth of each gorilla's back from a photograph. Then they recorded 36 chest beating episodes among these 6 males between, this was like a few years ago, November 2015, July 2016. They analyzed the recordings, and the results revealed that the duration of the chest beating and the number of beats and the rate of the beats during an episode were not associated with the size of the gorilla. However, the average peak frequency of the sound produced was the larger the gorilla, the lower the frequency of the sound. So the team noted that larger body size in males had been linked to their reproductive success, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, if you beat your chest and it's got a low frequency, you're a big bastard. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, the resonance. They also, I don't know if you realize this, but people think they use the fist to beat the chest, and they don't. They use the cup of the hands.
Yeah.
To like clap it. No, I don't know if it's the gorillas. Pecs kind of look hairless as well, don't they? As if they're good for slapping, for auditory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we do that as humans when we think we don't want to fight. We talk a bunch of crap or whatever, and then try to scare off the bigger person. So they don't come around.
We puff our chest out a bit, though, don't we? George Bush used to do it a lot. George Bush Jr.
Jesus, you're a big
stick
bastard.
His arm down.
Oh my God! You ever seen that? It was funny. Like, it's funny how we do that as humans too. I think it was. I can't help but laugh about it because I'm kind of delirious from all the sickness and stuff. But not Billy Madison, but Happy Gilmore. When he was like, and he had that his construction guy with the nail in his head, and Shooter was on the hole, and he goes, why don't you just try to get it to the hole from right here, Shooter? And he goes, well, that's impossible. He goes, well, I beg to differ. Happy Gilmore did that just 5 holes ago. And he goes, well, good for Happy Gilmore. And he turned around and he goes, oh my God, because the dude is so big,
That's
he just freaked out.
Just then I take a shot from his foot as well, didn't
Yeah. Yeah, but I've seen people do that stuff in real life too. It's funny that maybe what I'm saying is maybe the gorillas with the chest beaten are just avoiding all of that nonsense by a couple of beats on the chest, and another one just, and it sounds a little lower, and they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to mess with that guy. I'm not even going to go over there. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're smarter than us.
Maybe. I mean, I think animals are kind of like, if you think about it, they're on a different plane of existence, right? A different level of consciousness. So they're probably perfect, aren't they? You know what I'm saying? They probably are more evolved than us, technically.
Probably. We always think animals are dumber than us, but they probably afford. I don't know. Gorillas are scary as hell, though.
Oh, yeah. Strength of 9 men, they are. World's strongest man had struggled with a gorilla big time.
Oh, man. So there was some crazy looking lights in North Texas, and I think that's all about the weird news I got. So tonight, we're going to talk to Kim McCall, and we're going to talk about his new book, Multidimensional Reality. I'm really interested in this. So I think the biggest questions for tonight would be, like, what kind of experience does it take to... What are you doing, Rohan? You're killing me. What was that?
Well, that's my phone in the background.
What kind of experience does it take to shift our perspective of reality? And we've talked about that quite a bit. Like, what has to happen to you for you to change your whole paradigm? All right. And then, is there more to consciousness and the power of our mind than we experience in the mundane? I know there is, but do we all know that? And do we actually walk in many worlds which exist along with this one? I think that's the biggest question. It's a theory, but it's a really big question. His website is multidimensionalevolution.com. I'm fascinated about this. I'm ready to get into it, brother. You haven't had any weird out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, paranormal activity? Have you done any conscious exploration at all? Or are you just given into this materialistic world so much that you forgot that you're a void walker? Be honest.
Question. I'm building up.
I was void walking last night. I'm telling you, man, I had some crazy dreams. You ever notice, like, when you get sick, you have really vivid... I do. I have really vivid, crazy dreams, man.
Well, I do have it, and I said I don't remember very well, but I figured something out. If I keep one eye open and one shut, I can remember them. It's when I open both eyes. I found it out today, so I might have more dreams for you soon. But
You'd be like that. Have you seen that movie, Throw a Mama Off the Train?
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant film.
Where she's sitting there snoring with her eyes open.
yeah, because he's looking for the moment to get her, isn't it? Danny DeVito is such a class act. I love him. I love
that movie. That movie's hilarious, man.
He keeps imagining the little scenes of his mum and some horrific death, isn't it?
It's like the worst.
Needles in her ears and that.
Dude, she's the worst mother ever, man. Like, it's so funny.
Line, though,
give me a Pepsi, and she just starts going off on this. Oh man, I wish I had some sound clips from that. How are we doing with the Deep Void project, by the way? I know you've been working on that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I got loads to upload. Yeah, I got about 125 up there now. So yeah, they're coming up. It's just the uploading time, isn't it? Yeah, I got over 100.
Oh, I got to play some of these clips now. Like, I want to watch that movie. You ever start talking about a movie and then you just want to watch it afterwards?
Yeah,
it's so bad.
I've only ever seen that movie one time as well, so it would be brilliant to see it again.
Really?
He's got the killer line that starts it all off, isn't it? Because he's looking for that killer line for the start of his novel.
Man, I want to find a clip where, like, she really chews them out. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, here we go.
Evan! 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 What? Get me a soda with some ice in it. Evan, hurry up, Mama. Chap, Owen, come on. All right.
He thinks about killing her all the time.
When you were writing a letter.
No, Mama.
You were ready to tell them to take me away. You're want them to take me away.
I'm writing a story for class, Mama. I don't want them to take you away.
Yes, you do.
Owen loves his mama.
Owen loves his mama. Owen loves his mama. Owen loves his mama. Owen loves his mama. Owen loves his
He's thinking about choking her to death or whatever. You know, it's like
You're too damn slow.
I'm sorry, Mama.
I'm sorry, Mama. Why didn't you get me the salted nuts?
The salted ones are no good for you.
The unsalted ones make me choke.
she's such a bitch dude in that movie. It's the funniest movie in the, I don't know why I was thinking about that. All right, we got to take a break. We're going to bring our guest on. And yeah, thanks for those that actually sent me a message. I got a couple of people that sent me a message like, I hope you're okay. And other people that sent me a message is like, why haven't you talked to me? It's like, okay. And I can tell which ones are worried about if I'm dead or not, you know. Thanks, Rohan. You love me, don't you?
You know I love you.
Yeah, I know you do. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to get into some deep discussions with Kim McCall. Stay with us more.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Want to know what's on the Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
Hola, Fringe listeners. This is Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
This is Malorcas45, fan of The Fringe FM, challenging everyone to open their mind's eye. Listen to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop to gain precision for your third eye vision.
My name is Jake. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I am a void walker.
Hey, Joe Root. Thanks for lighting the void. This is Janine in the bluegrass of Kentucky, and I am a void walker.
What's up, guys? This is Damien from San Marcos, Texas, and I'm a void walker. I listen to the show to keep myself aligned with the world.
Hi, this is Laura, aka Laura Lavender. I'm from Las Vegas, and I listen to Lighting the Void because it helps me understand some of the strangest experiences I've had. So thanks for all that you do and for always being there for us, Joe.
Hi, this is Kronox from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
Hey, this is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
Born out of the alchemical tradition of Paracelsus is a medical tradition called Spagyria. Though not many people practice this work today, Phoenix Aurelius has been researching and teaching this work for the last 15 years, and he needs your support.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Aurelius, and I'm the founder of the Phoenix Aurelius Research Society, where I perform modern scientific research on the methods and techniques of Paracelsian alchemy and Spagyria for health, wellness, agriculture, ecology, and more. All my work is 100% funded by the public, so if you like what I'm doing and you want to support my research, please consider making a purchase of spagyric medicines from my apothecary, fund your own spagyric IDF wellness research, or participate in my group study or one-on-one immersion courses so that you can learn how to perform this work for yourself. I want to thank you in advance for your support.
Visit thefringe.fm/alchemy research and enter coupon code FRINGE and receive 15% off anything and everything on the website. That's thefringe.fm/alchemy research. And thank you for doing your part and keeping alchemy alive in the modern day.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. Our guest is with us, Kim McCall. We also have Rohan with us here, co-hosting. Again, if you want to join our chat room, the new link is fringe.fm/chat room, or you can click on the Discord link at fringe.fm. And the call-in number for tonight, 1-800-588-0335, as always. And just glad to get this going back again, all right? So here we go. Kim McCall is here with us, and he's an anthropologist, mediator, author, and podcast host, and has been working in the areas of Australian Aboriginal land rights, cross-cultural awareness, and disputes resolution since January of 2000, and having a long-standing interest in cross-cultural conceptions of consciousness. He began researching his own consciousness through a visit to a meditation center in Indonesia, and since 1997 has been using the theoretical and practical frameworks of conscientiology. I've never heard that word before, to increase multidimensional understanding. Now, Kim has given talks and workshops on bioenergies, out-of-body exploration, psychic development, and the evolution of consciousness in Australia, Brazil, England, Germany, and Romania. He also enjoys exploring these topics and writings, and he has published numerous articles in journals and online, as well as the book Multidimensional Evolution, Personal Exploration of Consciousness. So can't wait to dig into this. Thanks, Kim, for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
How did this whole thing, this always gets me when I read this background of someone that goes on a journey like you, that it makes me wonder if it's just an interest of study for you, or if you actually, had some real experiences. I always wonder about that, because not a lot of people just dive into the subject unless you've had an experience or you're just super interested in it. Or could it be either?
Yeah, I mean, I for me, definitely it was the experience came first, and then came the sort of lifelong, it's really been a lifelong quest now, almost start trying to understand what the hell was actually going on. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to hear you read that bio, because I'm just remembering, the guy who started off. So me, when I started off and went to this meditation center in Indonesia, I would never have imagined that my life would end up looking like that. So that's pretty much where it started. I was in my early 20s, and I had really struggled in life. in terms of in myself. I was pretty in a pretty bad place in myself, feeling quite depressed and didn't really have good perspectives on what to do with my life. And a friend of mine introduced me to meditation and recommended this place in Indonesia. And something about it really spoke to me and called me, and I trekked over there. I was living in the UK at the time.
Right.
And yeah, sitting in a room doing a very simple meditation, sort of body awareness meditation of.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what kind of meditations they started you out doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really simple. Be aware of your feet, be aware of your calves, be aware of your knees, and very slowly, obviously, working your way through the body. And that was really it. Deeply relaxing your body as you went.
Right.
But for whatever reasons, just doing that simple exercise triggered a lot of quite profound and initially quite scary experiences for me.
Really?
Which I then spent several years trying to understand.
Like what? Like just so the body awareness exercise or body awareness meditations triggered some things. What happened to you? What kinds of things?
So the first one was connecting with what I now understand to be energetic body, but which I didn't have any references for any of this, right? I wasn't into spiritual stuff. I hadn't studied anything. I just went to this place. And so, I would feel, I had the feeling that my sensations of my body were expanding. So I wasn't just feeling my physical body. I was feeling these other bits of me that I didn't know I'd had before. So like, sort of losing a sense of physical body. There was a particular experience where the meditation teacher told me to go deeper. I was sharing something about my experience, how relaxed I'd been, and he just sort of looked at me and said, go deeper. And as he said those words, it really felt like somehow his energy was touching the core of me. And that evening after leaving the session, I went to my room and I felt quite sort of irritated and discomfort in my body. And I had this sense of releasing a presence or releasing some kind of energy, literally like gagging it out of my mouth, which really freaked me out.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. It's like a purge or something, right? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. Like the kind of like what people talk about in ayahuasca or something, right? When they throw up, but it wasn't anything physical. It was just this sense of retching out an energy. And they had this process at this center where you could ask the teacher, who was an Indonesian man called Pak Suyono. You could leave a note or you could write him a note and say, share something and get his advice. And I explained the experience to him and asked him what it meant. And I just got a short note back saying that it had something to do with the past life, dabbling in dark magic.
Oh.
And again, I had no thought about this. This wasn't on my radar, right? So that just opened up a whole nother dimension to reality. And I think even just those things, so let alone all the energetic sensations, I had my first out-of-body experience while I was at that meditation center. Very brief, but I was next to my sleeping body and essentially there was a non-physical person next to me who basically kicked me in the head and woke me up that way. So those experiences, and then just let alone wrapping your mind around things like past life and so on. I guess it produced what I think people talk about as like a spiritual crisis.
Yeah.
Where, I would say I spent the next 2 or 3 years really, kind of slightly. If I'd seen a psychiatrist, I probably would have been.
Well, did you think you were going crazy? Like, did you think something was going wrong with you? That happens to a lot of people. Like, man, the cheese is sliding off the cracker, man. So I'm going crazy. And, that does happen.
Gee, I like that expression. Yeah, I did. I did think that. And at the same time, there was always a part of me that kind of somehow trusted the process.
Right.
So, I could, at the same time, I could feel like really basically like, what the hell's going on? I'm going crazy. This is not normal. I'd have this part running. And then there would be another part of me that would just go, just meditate, just sit here, just be with it, just be present.
Yeah. Another part of you trying to tell you to relax, take it all in, right? Like, yeah. Interesting. That's interesting, man. So Indonesia, like I wouldn't even think about something like that. Of course I've never been out of the United States, but, did you experience past life stuff where you thought, I heard you mention it earlier, something about dark magic in a past life, but did you have any experiences where you kind of saw into that?
Yeah, it's something that I've been sort of pursuing, that triggered the interest, right? Trying to understand that. And I have over the years pursued it in different ways. So there was a number of spontaneous past life memories. And I think the thing with past lives is I think it's something that's really, it's like a deep, it's like a sort of a deep inquiry. I think there's a bit of a stigma attached, or sometimes people have this idea, these stories that lots of people think they were somebody famous or whatever. And people sometimes use that to dismiss the concept of past lives. But in my experience, myself and other people that I know that have really worked with that, essentially connecting with past lives is often really helpful in terms of understanding certain, almost like traumas we might carry in our body, or psychological hang-ups or physical ailments that don't really make any sense, based on our life experience in this life.
Right.
And certainly as far as this dark magic idea, and I think one of the things that probably freaked me out as well, that contributed to that when I first started meditating, was that I sort of had a lot of visions and a lot of, dreams, and really intense dreams when I started with that process. And a lot of those were quite dark. There was quite a lot of violence and, it's really intense energies, right? And I guess I came to understand that a lot of that was linked to my own past, and through different meditation practices, and also I worked with regressionists at different times. That's brought a lot of clarity and really helped a lot with that.
Man, so did you start? It makes me think. Like, wonder, did you ever? And I know Rohan's probably got a question he wants to ask you too. But did you ever think that like you were some kind of dark person to begin with? Because that's what I'm feeling. I'd be like, I wonder if I was just like a dark dude in my past or something. Maybe like that could be. You never know. We don't know who we are in our past lives. Like, I want to figure that out. But anyways,
Yeah. I mean, I was a dark dude.
Really?
I did work that out, right?
Yeah.
But I guess, and not just one either. So there was a pattern there for a while. But I guess I've also come to understand that we really all have that in our past. I don't think there's anybody around today, especially if we come to a place where we're really interested in these topics, and want to grow and so on. I think going into those dark parts of us, just as it is now, right? Just with the psychology, just if you leave past lives alone and just want to look at it psychologically, if you want to grow in yourself, you have to look at your dark aspects as well. You have to connect with your anger and your pain and all that.
Yeah.
And it's much the same, just on a bigger scale. It seems to be part of our evolutionary growth as consciousnesses that we go through those experiences.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Rohan. I know you got a question, right?
I've got a question from a Discord chatter, actually. It's a really good point. I sort of musing on it myself, and she's
All right.
just said it concise. So it's LV's got a question. Says, do you think, especially when you're mentioning dark stuff from the past, do you think perhaps some of our phobias and fears could be stemming from past lives? Have you had any thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very much the case. I mean, with children, you know, you often see, and I'm thinking of myself, and I was a very fearful child of things that really didn't make any sense. You know, I saw all kinds of, and you might think, oh, that's normal for a kid, but it's actually, there's kids that don't have that, right? Plenty of kids that don't have that. And there's degrees of that. So I think the more I've been spending time with this, I think many of the kind of psychological attributes that we have that we can't clearly explain with factors from this lifetime, past lives are very common, and I think much more common than we realize, sort of factor in that.
You know, I would really like, I was kind of dealing with this, I was doing some NLP stuff and found out I had some past life stuff, and it just seems kind of unfair, right, to me. Like, come on. I agreed to come down here and work this stuff out. Like, I would have never done. Can we just take a break? That's what I wonder sometimes. Can we take a karma vacation when we come down here and just like have a good life for once? Like, for once, I just want to go to the, you know, Fiji, have a good life, make good money, you know, have a beautiful wife and kids and everything, and not have to worry about anything. Like, can we take a vacation life? That would be cool.
I agree.
Yeah, don't really know the answer to that, but that would be cool. But yeah. I think actually, who wrote the book Journey of Souls? Michael Newton said that we actually do that sometimes. We take breaks like that.
Yeah, look, I've heard that. I've heard people say that, and it makes sense, right? I think it does make sense because it is hard work. Life is really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So. So you wrote this book, Multidimensional Evolution, Personal Explorations of Consciousness. So is this book essentially, is this you teaching people stuff, or is this book essentially all about your journeys with your explorations?
Well, I wanted it to do both. So I suppose I you know, that word that you have had trouble with at the beginning, conscientiology.
Yeah.
That's kind of a framework that I discovered eventually, right after a couple of years after Indonesia. I came across that, and it's a I guess you could call it like a discipline, like an academic discipline in a way,
like
but
it.
That deals with
Conscientiology.
consciousness.
Yeah.
So conscientiology stands for the study of consciousness, and so that's I ended up in Brazil, and I studied with those guys. That's where that's from. And this book, so I really like conscientiology in many ways, but it's very technical and very academic. And I wanted to use my personal experience to introduce some of the concepts that eventually helped me understand a lot of my experiences.
Right.
So it's kind of both, you know, it's meant to be an accessible way of, you know, through stories and so on, to also introduce some really helpful concepts by which to understand the multidimensional universe and our evolutionary journey.
Well, I mean, we kind of live by that creed here on this show. At least I know, and Rohan knows this too, that I believe that the study and exploration of consciousness is going to be the key to unlocking everything that we really need as humans. It really is. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's politics, although everything in life is a part of consciousness. But I believe, and I'm curious on what your opinion is like if we really tap into our potential through conscious exploration and conscious study, that there are a lot more problems that can be solved that we don't think through these methods. I'm just curious on what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I suppose I'll put a qualifier on there. The events that have happened over the last year or so with coronavirus, and in particular all of the sort of conspiracy theories that have arisen, and some of those ideas and the way they have impacted a lot of people who are really into consciousness. that's really surprised me in a way, and it made me question. I guess I had perhaps a very optimistic perspective on, if we all explore consciousness and become aware of ourselves more fully, we will approach the issues in life with much more maturity and awareness and so on. And, I've realized that a lot of people that might be very familiar with out-of-body travel and have a strong sense of not being the physical body, know of their immortality and so on, nonetheless, are not necessarily free from being influenced and manipulated by different kinds of ideas, right? So, but with that qualifier, I really think that having a focus on consciousness and understanding humanity from a different perspective, which is from the perspective of wanting to come here to learn and to grow in this dimension through the use of this body, and become really conscious of that and do it deliberately, to really understand that we're all in this together, that we're all consciousness here growing together, that there's this illusion of separateness and the illusion of nationalities and race and all that. I think that would be profound for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think, based on your study, and I'm going to keep trying to say this word, I love this word, but what do you think, based on your study of conscience, man, I got to say it. Can you say it, Rohan? Or is it just me? Is it conscientiology? That's how you said it, right?
You don't know. Yeah. That sounds good.
Conscientiology. Okay. So do you think, based on what you know about this, what do you think is the most, and we'll have to take a break after this, the most effective method of conscious exploration that you've found so far? Is it just plain meditation, energetic body awareness meditation, breathing? You know what I mean? Which ones work for you the best?
I'm not sure how much time you have before your break, because it's a bit of a, I think it's really I don't think there's a single answer. I think it's more of a system question. So, I've used, breath work. I've found really powerful. A lot of energy work. Working with the frequency and moving the energies of the body. Psychological type inquiry, self-inquiry, body-based, ideally, feeling into the body and really pursuing where our traits and our emotions and so on come from.
Okay.
And I think the combination of it all, I think probably what unites it all is really the spirit of inquiry, right? Of being curious and wanting to grow as an individual.
So all of it's kind of worked for you, or opened up some avenue for you.
Yeah. Okay. Different things at different times in my life as well.
Very cool. Yeah. I think for me, mine was definitely the learning to work with the hypnagogic state and trying to keep my body, trying to keep my mind awake while my body was asleep. That has been the most effective thing for me. Other than that, and now I'm starting to do like this ha breath and breath meditations and stuff that are really starting to do some really cool stuff too. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. What about you, Rohan? What's been your most effective one before we go to the break?
Yeah, I think it's really quick. I think mine has mostly been, well, I say a leaf in the river, just accepting when stuff does look like it's happening, just taking it and going with the flow. And then I think it opens you up more to actually be able to see it. Like wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't believed it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but weren't you into doing like what was it, that stuff you were doing that you talk about all the time? It's like a martial art.
I did some DMT after years of study, because I had a random DMT experience without taking anything, and so I've spent years trying to find out what the hell it was. So I tried it, and it was exactly the same. So I thought, wow. I've got questions about that for the guests after the break.
I'm just curious about that, because I'm big into this. I never come up with a cool word. Let me just try it again. Conscientiology. That's a great word. I love it. All right. Well, so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Kim McCall. If you guys got any questions, we'll open up the phone lines too. It's 1-800-588-0335. More Lighting the Void coming up. Stay with us.
Hey, this is No Way Jose, a Northern California Piscean stuck in the Arizona desert. I'm a void walker, and I got the shoes to prove it. So what do I do when my soul yearns to delve deep into the realm of the unknown? I aim my satellite straight into the night sky and catch a smooth ride on the KTLK-DB radio waves. I tune into Lighting the Void with Joe Root on The Fringe FM.
Joe, Lighting the Void is the best show on the planet. This is Barney, your friend from Facebook. Thank you and all the crew for all you do. Namaste, my friend.
This is Macon from the foothills of North Carolina, and I am a void walker.
G'day, void walkers. This is Lily from down under Australia. The world may be small, the enigma is greater. So let your curiosity take you for a journey with Joe Root.
Hey, this is V, coming in from Central Maryland, and I am a void walker.
This is Kevin Doherty, a beginner void walker. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I know a little about a lot, and as Leonard Skinner said, I guess the rest. I learned a lot from Mr. Root on the show, and I heard it from the beginning. I knew right then he was going to be a new Art Bell. Thanks for all your shows, and keep it up.
Hey, this is Derek from Mass, aka the Night Stalker, and I'm a void walker.
This is Mark from Chicago, and I walk the void to ascertain what is consciousness.
My name is Jared Johnson, and I'm from Humboldt County, California. I do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I'm a void walker. Thanks, Joe Root.
This is Barbara Charlton from Metaphorical Archaeology. If you've ever had a traumatic paranormal experience, the effects of it may stay with you for years. Who do you talk to? You can't go to conventional help. What we do is we use emotional freedom techniques or tapping to actually neutralize the effects of that event. Maybe when you tell the story now, your heart races and your palms get sweaty. You don't even want to think about it because you don't know how to neutralize that. That's what EFT tapping does. It neutralizes those emotions. The circuit that was recorded on is gone. The energy flows freely and you're free of it. And that's what emotional freedom is all about. We offer this as a pro bono service, but this is something that I offer because no one, it seems, is helping people with these experiences. If you'd like to reach me, it's really easy. My cell phone is 214-995-3754. Please leave a message. I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Or you can email me, barb.eft@gmail.com. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Reach out to me. It's confidential. This works. You won't believe the results.
Have you heard of heavy metals? Yeah! I'm not talking about the heavy metals in the junkyard. I'm talking about the heavy metals that build up in your body. Heavy metals in your body can make you feel sluggish, fatigued, and just plain off. Why not try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? Cleansing your body and making you feel great. Cleansing the inside of your body of intruders that sneak their way into you and set up an intruder camp. Life Change Tea helps remove unwanted intruder camps. Brew it, steep it, and drink in the results. Tastes great so you can create a new health habit. Our tea loves to help people. It just needs the chance. So order yours today by logging on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our Life Change Super Strength Tea is waiting. This could be a beautiful relationship. Take charge of your health. Order at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
The Fringe FM isn't just a radio station. We also provide services for all your audio production needs. If you are interested in live radio or pre-recorded podcasts, we're here to help. We even do audio enhancements and voiceovers if needed. If you want to do a podcast or live radio show and even want the option to syndicate on terrestrial radio, from simple audio file enhancement to live production and call screening, we have you covered. We have worked with some of the best professionals in the business in order to provide coaching instruction for content creation, show structure, and more. Contact The Fringe Digital Media for more at info@thefringe.fm. That's info@thefringe.fm. Or call 501-777-5631 for a consultation.
Arkansas. You are listening to Joe Roop and Lighting the Void here on The Fringe FM.
All right, 1-800-588-0335. That's the call-in number if you want to call into our show and speak to our guest tonight, Kim McCall. Tonight we're talking about exploring consciousness and multidimensional realities. Pretty fascinating stuff as well. You can go check out his book, Multidimensional Evolution. You go to his website at multidimensionalevolution.com or facebook.com/multidimensional evolution. Also has a podcast on Anchor at anchor.fm/Kim-McCall. So how have you learned is the podcast, and I find Kim too, and thanks again for coming on the show. Good to have you. I find podcasting, like just doing shows and talking to people, has been that's kind of a method of conscious exploration. It's just the back and forth of relation and conversation, even though it doesn't seem like it, but it sure has opened up a lot of avenues for me.
Yeah, same. I think, I mean, at different levels, right? So one is just like you say, relating to people. That dance. I mean, that's an energetic dance every time, right? You're relating to another person. You're kind of moving into each other's universe a little bit, trying to understand, especially when you're interviewing someone like you are, thinking about what's happening for the other person, what might be interesting to find out about them. And then just having interesting people on the show. Like if you're interested in these topics, I mean, I've really enjoyed, I've had a bunch of different people into OBEs.
Yeah.
On my podcast, and just how everybody has a slightly different angle, right? Everybody has a slightly different perspective, a different way of going about it. And that's really interesting.
Well, bioenergies is something that I'm kind of interested in too. And I think Robert Bruce, when he came on the show and talked to us about, he was kind of my style because he's more of an occultist, a guy that didn't mind practicing a little bit of hermetic magic as well. But his methods for, activating the body was really interesting, and his books have been really interesting. And I think it's cool that when you talked about when you were doing those meditations, becoming aware of your body parts, I think in a sense that activated your energetic body, or what some people call your etheric body, as to where he would do exercises that, you would take like a feather or something like that and kind of just touch your skin and then pull off of it a little bit and then kind of barely, get close to your skin. And what he's trying to do is activate that expandingness and awareness, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly how I understand now what happened to me, right? Was that my energetic body, I became aware of it. It became active. And as you say, what you describe, I haven't read any of Robert Bruce's books. I know he's got one specifically on energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you described, that exercise, is because it's really about developing a sensitivity. Whether we feel, whether you've ever felt the energies or not, we all have them.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, they're super tangible, and for other people, they aren't. But that's essentially, it seems to be a matter of our sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. Can I just back that? I just want to back that up with, because I mentioning during the break was just talking about martial arts and stuff, and in the blindfold training, that's what you're training. You put blindfolds on, and then you get people to walk up to you and think horrible thoughts, and you start to be able to sense it. And I've been recently learning Falun Dafa to manipulate my magnetism, and after just a few goes, I can feel a difference. I can start to feel it, and I feel lighter after. So I think that's a really key point: developing the sensitivity, developing the awareness. Because we're getting bombarded all the time, aren't we? With stimuli.
Is that, I don't know, I want to ask Kim this. Do you think that's the same as the bioenergetic body? Like if I was to, you know, stand next to you, if I become aware of your feelings or thoughts, to me, that's psychic development maybe, or because the bioenergetic body, and maybe you can correct me here, that's something that you can actually feel, right? You can actually start to feel or develop, or maybe I'm wrong here.
No, I think it's related. Like I don't think they are compartmentalized, right?
Okay.
So, in conscientiology, we talk about 4 different bodies. So we talk about the physical body, right? That's obvious. We talk about the energetic body, which we've just discussed, and then there is the psychosoma, or the astral body, the one that we have our out of body experiences in, and that is also the emotional body. It's also called the emotional body, often in the literature.
Right.
And so when you have emotions, they are generated. By this model, they're generated on the psychosoma, but they obviously have repercussions in the physical body. You know, there's hormonal changes and blood flow changes, and the skin tension might change. All those things depending on your emotions. And they also get reflected and expressed in the energetic body. So it seems to be that the energetic body it's kind of like, an instrument that we can use to feel, that we can feel around, and you can, you feel another person's energy. In their energy, that you will feel how they're feeling, and if you're really sensitive, you might, get a sense of their thoughts and so on. So it's like that energy, that etheric body or energetic body, it's subtler than the physical body, but it's denser than the astral body or the psychosoma. And it's kind of like an intermediary, right? It's an intermediary that we can work with, develop, and gradually use to become like an instrument for us to, become more conscious of the energies around us. And even energies from non-physical people around us.
So if Rohan came close to me, and I don't know, he was having like a really bad day or feeling really depressed or whatever, and I could feel and I was aware of my energetic body, and let's say, maybe he wasn't so aware of it. Once I made that kind of etheric connection with him, not only could I feel his energetic makeup, but I could probably feel a darker, or I guess a lower vibratory energy, maybe something like that.
Yeah. And, even if you're not, and this happens to us, even if we're not sensitive to our own energies sometimes, right? Yeah. Somebody comes in the room who's like really angry, and even if you don't think of their energies, you still notice it, right? It just happens. Your body has this will have a reaction to it.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people. But yeah, absolutely. There's so in conscientiology, there's a lot of emphasis placed on working with the energetic body. There's particular techniques that we use to circulate our energy and to install the vibrational state, which, people who know Robert Monroe's work know that as a gateway to out-of-body experiences, but it's also essentially a practice that can just allow us to keep our energetic body in good shape. And there is a lot of emphasis on learning to distinguish and read and perceive energies of other people, off spaces, even if there's no people. Like you've got the leftovers of energy, like if there's if there was a party somewhere, or if there was a fight somewhere in a room, and then you come back later, after everybody's gone, there's still the energetic residue in that space. And even I'm just looking out my window, I'm in the hills, Adelaide Hills, looking over the trees. Nature as well, right, is a great source of energy that we can feel and connect with.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I maybe my mind wants to compartmentalize stuff so much for some reason, because I've been kind of really reading, there's a book by Dr. Ibrahim Karim, who I'm really trying to get on the show, who talks about biogeometry, where he's really gets involved. I don't know if you studied that at all, but he really gets involved with biogeometry and the nature of geometry as a whole and how it works in our environment and how it pretty much makes up everything. Like if you study DNA and stuff like that, it's not really the DNA that's kind of that's the interesting part. It's the helix. It's the geometrical patterns. For some reason, it's almost like geometry is proof that the metaphysical realm exists, because there's something about just the shapes themselves that cause all kinds of different energetic things to happen. So I wonder about that with the human body, because were you learning things as far as like the torsion fields go, or the what kind of what was his name, Claude Swanson, who talked about torsion fields? Did you look into any of that, how the body's like this toroidal field?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so sometimes I wonder, like, there's two camps. There's people that talk about the magnetic field or this toroidal field of the human body, and then there's other people like what you're talking about, and Robert Bruce talks about how you can just learn to feel this etherical, like an energetic body, that doesn't really seem like it has anything to do with toroidal fields. But I'm just trying to put it all together in my head,
Yeah, and what is the toroidal field?
Well, the toroidal field is like, if you can imagine like a tornado, and the center of your body is the heart of the body, and it has a energy that goes up through the body. It's kind of like a chi diagram, right? And it comes out your head and then goes in this heart shape and comes back around and goes up through the foot. So it looks like you're, you know what I'm talking about? It looks like that circulation of energy that goes around.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of meditations that go way back, grounding meditations like the middle pillar that go back to the Golden Dawn, and even other meditations that I know for sure work. But I'm just trying to figure out, and I guess I'm getting way too intellectual about this, but I'm trying to figure out the differences between things like that, the toroidal grounding. Maybe it's a whole different kind of body than just that etherical, energetic body that I've experienced when I had an out-of-body experience too,
I don't know. I mean, it sounds to me like it's just another way of approaching the energetic body, just based on what you've said now,
because really the only thing that you can do with it that I'm aware of so far is just kind of ground and center yourself by tapping into the toroidal field stuff. But
right.
It's, learning the energetic body, or what Dr. Stylianos Teslis calls like your etheric double. And he has some crazy exercises too, where you can he actually tries to like move your finger while you're not moving it and stuff like that. Like move your etheric body kind of thing. Have you gotten into any of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's we do, although we're talking about different bodies here in a way, because in the conscientiology workshops, we sometimes do exercises where you essentially try and lift your extra physical hand or your extra physical arm rather than your physical arm. But that's not the etheric body, that's the astral body or the psychosoma. So when you might have, I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes when I try and have an out of body experience, I find that, my arms will pop out and my legs might pop out.
Yeah.
But the rest of my body just stays. I stay in my head. Often, there's been this time when
we were just talking about that, Rohan. I swear, on everything. I don't know if it's Monday night or Friday night. I was saying the exact same thing. Like after I had that one out of body experience, I kept trying to do it again. And like my legs would like lift up out of my body, but my head was like an anchor, and it would even pressurize. So essentially it was just like my legs lifting up, and I couldn't do anything about it for some reason. Is that that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when you talk about people moving just their finger or something. I mean, that's the para finger, right? The astral body finger or the astral body hand. Which is different from the energetic body, which is a bit less, like you don't have an energetic body finger as such, it's just a slightly more amorphous field around the...
But the exercises working with your fingers and all this other stuff kind of ignite the energetic body, like these dead places on your body that you never really kind of, I guess, stimulate to feel your energetic body. helps,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because Dosklos, this guy, he was just this Christian mystic that lived on the Isle of Cyprus. Fascinating books. You don't, if you're just doing it for study, beside the religion, it's really fascinating stuff. But he healed people with what he calls his etheric double, and he has like these different practices that you can do where you can literally like use your etheric hands or whatever and go into someone's body and fix stuff. But it's a lot of really hardcore visualizations and practice and all of that stuff. So I get kind of overwhelmed with all the different things, actually, because my mind wants to intellectualize it and put it in a logical format. And maybe we're dealing with stuff that's not so logical, I guess, sometimes.
Well, I don't know. I think from mine, it's the same. I always want to understand everything. And I think having conceptual frameworks is really helpful to get clarity about this stuff, and to also, because we're still coming out of the era where all of this was the domain of religion and mysticism and so on. And I think to move into the more scientific way of dealing with this, it's really helpful to have categories and, try and understand and reference points and so on. But I guess just sometimes when you put it all together, things like phenomena, like when you have an out-of-body experience, for example, it tends to involve at least, your physical body, your energetic body, and your astral body all together in some way. And, as you drift out of your physical body, your energetic body might be the cause of some of the sensations that you have, the tingling, the vibrations, and so on.
Right.
So in practice, I guess often everything kind of meshes together. But I think to understand that, it's good to have, different categories and concepts.
Yeah, I mean, because we kind of have to, don't we? Otherwise, we're not going to have any way to approach it. So I just I just don't want to over compartmentalize too. Sometimes I think I worry that I'm doing that. But either way, it's cool because we're trying to figure this stuff out. But in your website, you have a few bullet points here about conscientiology, the study of consciousness, right? And some of your bullet points are multidimensionality, which is experiencing yourself beyond the physical body. That goes into a lot of different things. Multiple bodies, what you just talked about, multiple lives, and bioenergetics. So you've kind of narrowed it down to these 4 categories for you, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're the key points that I draw out of conscientiology, kind of, and each of them are quite vast, right?
Yeah, right.
Explore, but yeah.
So let me just see. Multiple bodies. Another thing we learned, you guys can go to the website and read along with me here. It's multidimensionalevolution.com. You said another thing we learned by experiencing ourselves outside the physical body is that we have bodies beyond the physical. First of all, we have a body that looks like the physical but is much more subtle. This is the body we most commonly use when we project from the physical body and during periods when we do not have a physical body. And you call that psychosoma. That's fascinating. Why is it this body? Did you get that name from someone else, or did you just name it?
Yes. So. I mean, conscientiology was developed by this Brazilian medical doctor Valdo Vieira, and he coined a lot of different terms, including conscientiology, projectiology, which is the study of the projection of consciousness or out-of-body experience. And he's a medical doctor. He also had a background in Brazilian spiritualism for a long time. So he was a medium and so on in the spiritualist tradition. And I think it was around the 60s or 70s where he decided it was important to start taking a more scientific approach to these studies. And as a result of that, he developed a lot of words that he wanted to get away from things like spirit body or astral body and sort of used, I guess, Latin and Greek inspired terms like psychosoma.
I think that's great, man. I think that's, I really do think that's great. I think some people get upset about that because they don't want you to take away from the woo-woo of spirituality, and that's cool. I get that too, right? But I firmly believe until we actually start taking the study of like metaphysics and conscious exploration as a real thing, just as much as we study anatomy and atoms. And I wish the government, I wish we had a lot bigger projects behind this stuff, and I don't think we're going to get there. As much as I love talking about the magical side and the magical nature of these things, I don't think we're going to get there and get real answers as a society until we start taking it scientifically seriously, right? So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree.
So what is your next step now? Are you just trying to get this book out, or are you doing any speaking events? Kind of hard to do that with all this COVID stuff going on, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I actually the COVID stuff in a way moved me along a bit last year. I hadn't really done anything for a while, and last year I did a bunch of online activities and sort of Zoom-based workshops type things. But I'm actually not very active in this space at the moment. I've got a full-time consulting work as an anthropologist in Aboriginal land rights here in Australia, and the whole consciousness side of things is something I essentially do, as a hobby. I write. I'm always working on some sort of writing thing, or the podcast. And I'm also involved, and this might be some, if people are interested in out-of-body exploration, I'm co-facilitator with a couple of other people of a online book club where we're reading Vieira's Projectiology book, which is without a question the most comprehensive book on out-of-body experiences. It's ridiculously big book, quite overwhelming to read by yourself. I think it's really just if you're seriously into studying that phenomena. And we've got an international online book club going where we're meeting monthly and reading through so many chapters every month of the book, which just started last month, and it's open for anybody who wants to join. And I think it's a nice context because it'll give you sort of a community of people who are really serious about exploring out-of-body experiences. And we also encourage everybody to apply a couple of techniques during in between the meetings. So it's always important to emphasize both study and personal practice with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're doing this, though. I think it's cool to take a practical approach and to be this way about it. I don't know. Do you have any questions, Rohan? I've been just blabbing along without letting you ask any questions, brother.
No, it's fascinating guest, fascinating topic, like I say, and I know we're about to hit on a break, so maybe wait till after. I've got a couple stacking up, but like I say, maybe wait to save them till after the break. But I just want to make that point of saying, taking that practical approach and categorizing things, I think that is necessary to bring it into the seriousness academic world, because they do the same with psychology, the DSM, and you can't prove all of those things, but you need a roadmap, and I think that's the thing we're doing into it. We need to build a roadmap to be able to talk about it. So I just want to make that point before the break.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, brother. That's a good co-host for you right there. Just taking charge, letting us know what's up. Right, we'll be right back. More Lighting the Void coming up. Got any questions for our guests? Call in at 1-800-588-0335. Stay with us.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Want to support Lighting the Void? Just go to lightingthevoid.com, sign up on our membership page, and pick your package where you can get exclusive content, readings, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Also, check out the LTV shop where you can get your very own altar box, t-shirt, shack, hoodie with sigil, Roswell-style t-shirt, racerback tees, socks, long-sleeve shirts, stickers, and beanies. Keep Lighting the Void airing 5 nights a week by going to lightingthevoid.com and support today.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Lighting the Void and the Esoteric Scholar present the Altar Box, crafted and designed for magicians by magicians. Now you can take your practice with you. This beautifully handcrafted mobile altar opens and works as an altar for any of your spiritual, religious, or ritual practices. Made to travel and work in small spaces, the Altar Box comes with hidden compartments for your practice tools and accessories. The Altar Box also comes with a dark scrying mirror for scrying and reverses and fits perfectly also as a chalkboard for any sigil, symbol, or whatever you see fit to sketch. The Altar Box is handcrafted to carry as a small suitcase, so you may take your practice with you, and the hinges are made with solid material and hinged with leather and rivets for extra strength. The mirror piece and floor plate fit perfectly when closed, so no movement will happen. Use it in small places as well. You can practice meditation, magic, planetary magic, sigil magic, scrying, ritual. Never be without your practice tools again, no matter the setting or where you go. And this season, give the gift of magic for yourself or your loved one by grabbing your Altar Box. Was $249.99, now $199.99. The sale ends January 1st, 2021. Just go to lightingthevoid.com/altarbox and get yours while the sale lasts.
I don't know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of the family of exposed consciousness. I am a voidwalker. Hey, this is Macon, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Root.
Void, and we're here with Kim McCall. Fascinating discussion so far. You know, the one thing that I haven't talked to you about tonight when it comes to, I gotta say this word again, I'm gonna do it for the fourth time. Is it conscientiology? You say it way better than I do. Yeah, for sure.
Sounds perfect to me.
What about dreams, right? Like, it's a big, we talk about dreams a lot, but I cannot express. Sometimes I think we overlook the importance of what, I don't know, like how important they are, or the symbolic interpretations of our dreams, the emotions that we feel. I don't know how you interpret that, or if you have any studies with that at all. Do you study that at all in your processes?
Yeah, look, so two things. So I think conscientiology itself isn't particularly strong on dreams. There's a big focus there just on the out-of-body experience, which for me is a bit of an omission, because I think, like you said, dreams are so varied, right? There's so many different types of experiences we can have when we're asleep. The quality of dreams can be so different. Like there's the kind of dreams where we're clearly working through stuff from our day. Your mind is ticking over whatever is concerning you and so on. The sort of symbolic dreams that have profound psychological significance. And then there are dreams that perhaps aren't actually dreams because they actually are out-of-body experiences, but we just use the label dream because that's what we're kind of used to label anything that happens when the body is asleep.
Yeah, man, I had some pretty intense dreams last night when I got sick, and from what I understand about them so far, as many people as we've talked to, is that there's this place, that a lot of us talk about. It's called the astral realm, and the dream world's kind of connected to it too. But it seems like things happen on an emotional and symbolic level way more intensely than just regular communication. But I think you're right. I think that's kind of like a whole other field of psychological conscious exploration and emotional conscious exploration versus maybe just exploring your energetic bodies or your multidimensionality, stuff like past lives. Now, how vivid did you get into your past life work or your multiple life stuff? Was it vague? Did you get some really good information from your studies in that?
Yeah, no, there was some very clear experiences. Most of them for me happened during kind of guided exercises. So kind of guided, like kind of the regressions that I have done were all sort of involved in an initial stage of really relaxing and then being guided up to a certain point. And then it becomes open, right? Then the person stops talking and then an experience unfolds. And yeah, look, I don't know, I've written it down somewhere. I can't remember. I probably had about a dozen different lifetimes or so on that have come up, and some of them repeatedly. There's been different angles to the same lifetime. And I guess the thing that for me makes it the most compelling and the most significant was that in a lot of those, it really shifted something for me in my life right now. So there was a real relationship between, certain emotional repression or fear. The most recent I had actually was only last year when I noticed, I don't know if you know this, but I guess you have the same experience, right? The more you do this stuff, there's always new layers that pop up. And I'd become present to this layer of this kind of deep sadness that I was feeling. And
yeah,
it seemed to be there. It just seemed to be there in so many aspects of my life. And I was like, where's this coming from? I don't really understand. And I did a regression session with someone who does that kind of work. And I connected with a past life that I left incredibly depressed. And that really, it's really shifted. That state in me has really lifted since then.
How did it lift? Did you just do kind of like a Jungian approach where you were, because Carl Jung thought that kind of thing too. Like we had these past life karma things that were really, in the etheric realms were deep stuff, but even in our dream world, it's deep things. But in real life, as long as we just worked them out, we didn't have to deal with them anymore. Or maybe, I'm just assuming here, was it something like that? Or was it just you tapped into your energetic body better and you just started feeling better?
Well, it was a bit like, it was essentially so I became present to that aspect, right? It was like it's kind of like seeing a movie, seeing this person, seeing his life, the person that is now, lives in me, I suppose, that was me, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And I felt his sadness and his grief and his hopelessness, and somehow seeing that, and really I felt a lot of compassion for him. I really felt, and I say him, right, it was like because it was kind of externalized, but at the same time I knew it was kind of me. It seemed to essentially, it was like bringing him to light, bringing that experience to light and acknowledging it and accepting it, and really seems to have shifted it. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's like other psychological work, when you have traumatic childhood experiences and you've buried them somewhere deep, and then eventually, you're in your 30s or whatever in therapy and they come up, and I think it's by seeing them and by holding them and by feeling compassion for the adaptations that you've made because of them, that seems to bring a lot of the relief often.
Yeah, I think this is the most important thing a person can do, especially right now with all this stuff going on. So what you're talking about, we've been talking about this stuff since the Art Bell days. A lot of people have, but I really feel like, and I'm curious on your thoughts on this too, I really feel like, especially now with the COVID stuff, and I don't know, I'm an astrologer too, so I would say amateur astrologer. So I see a lot of these energies that are happening, especially now, exploring your individual consciousness and becoming that person to expand yourself that way is really big right now. It seems that it's happening on a bigger level. And I used to ask myself, and I still ask everybody that comes on this show, do you feel like that's happening too? Or is it because we're more aware of these realms now that we feel like it's happening more for a lot more people, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I definitely would say it is happening more. Just in terms of, and I guess I'm, assessing that on the basis of what I see in my world, the people I see around me, the growth of different organizations and groups that work in different ways with energy and spirituality, both in my city and in other cities and online. Like I think I was saying during the break, on the amount of out of body exploration groups on Facebook has just grown so dramatically, and there's always new people joining and so on. The only thing that I'm a bit wary about with this, because I see that so often, there's this long tradition in spiritual, and I mean literally like thousands of years long tradition in spiritual circles of expecting some big transformation to happen, right? There's the coming of the savior, or some kind of new age starting or something like that. And I don't think that's what's happening as such, right? But there's definitely some shifts happening around consciousness and just the openness and our ability to have these conversations without people coming and trying to burn us at the stake or something.
Right. It's cool to be able to talk about it without that happening, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
that is the cool thing about all this. It looks like I recognize this phone number. It looks like Catalina is on the line here. Is this you, Kat?
Yeah, this is me.
Hey, Kat, you got a question for Kim? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, Kim, that I salute you for, you said that you're helping Aborigines, and I really commend you for that and salute that, because I've always felt the connection with them ever since one time I saw this movie It's from the 1970s called The Wave. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or seen it, but it's really cool.
No.
It's very, very metaphysical, very spiritual. But they talked about the dream time, and that was kind of like an awakening for me, because they were saying, the dream time is the real time. When you're awake and physical, that's not really reality. And so that kind of opened up my mind to the first time. I was like, wow, I never thought of that before, And then later, I learned from a history show that they connected to the Pleiadians, which everything I've learned about with them, that I connect with them too. So I'm just wondering, have you ever met with their elders and learned some really metaphysical things from them?
Yeah, I mean, I work pretty much across most of Australia these days with different communities on land rights claims, and Aboriginal culture is, people take, like, out of body travel, for example, is just taken for granted, right? The life after death is just taken for granted. People share stories about speaking, to deceased loved ones and so on regularly. And that concept of the dreaming is profound, right? That connection to, for me, the way I interpret it is essentially people's awareness of the immutability of the extra-physical or non-physical dimension from which all life arises in this dimension, and how that is kind of present always, and that's where people are coming from, and that's where people are returning back to. But when you meet Aboriginal people, they're very like people that they don't have kind of traditions like we have, like, with missionaries and stuff that try to impart their wisdom. So people tend to keep their traditions quite close to their chest a lot of the time. Don't really, share big teachings and so on. But, part of my work has been to record a lot of the stories and a lot of the we call them creation stories these days rather than dreamtime stories, but it's kind of the same thing. The stories as they relate to the creation of the land, long time ago, obviously. And it really is, it's really remarkable. Some of those stories, the knowledge that is encoded in them about prehistory of this country, which predates much longer than science currently knows that humans were here. Some of the stories, that explain geological features and so on that geologists only now are discovering. There's a lot, I think, that we will still to be learned about Aboriginal culture and how old it really is, and the relationship to this continent and so on.
Did you ever get to see those pictograph pictures on the rocks, that look like alien heads, the ones I'm talking about with the big eyes?
Yeah, they're over in the Kimberley region in the far northwest of Australia. They're called the Wandjina art.
Wandjina?
Wandjina, yeah, is the name of that particular, that's the name of the spirit beings that the Aboriginal people would say is what is being depicted there. I think for us, they do look like, you look at them and you think, extraterrestrials. But I don't think that's what the local Aboriginal people would say about them.
What do they say about them?
Well, I think they just say that they were the ancestral beings that were there in the past.
Kind of like the way the Hopi talk about the past people and all that stuff too. Like there's some interesting stuff there. I haven't really looked into Aboriginal culture, but I think it is pretty fascinating stuff though. I haven't looked into it at all. But
I think you find it interesting given your interests.
Yeah, I might need to get into that really, because any kind of thing that traces back to like what, because I've talked to Laird Scranton about that and with the Hopi and things like that, that really interested in me. But it does seem like the deeper you look into all these ancient races, there's always some kind of weird, even the ancient Egyptian stuff that you look like they show these people that are giants compared to everybody else. It's just some weird, crazy stuff, man. I believe we were spawned by aliens or some kind of race. I don't think it was, I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I don't think it was total evolution. I don't know, you know.
I don't think you're crazy. I don't know about your audience, but
you know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The more you look into the stuff, it would make more sense that life was seeded here, you know, in a certain way.
Yeah.
Way more sense. But who am I? I'm no big scientist or anything. Do you got any other questions, Kat, before we let you go? And thanks for calling, by the way.
No, that was great. I'm enjoying everything you're sharing, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
There's a few, thank you for calling. And there's a few on my website, on the blog, there is a few articles about different aspects of Aboriginal culture, like rainmaking and out of body travel, and so on. So,
all right.
Yeah,
778 area code. You're on the air with Kim McCall. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, it's Ali. How are you?
Hey, Ali. What's up?
So this is a really fascinating subject. I'm really impressed, and it's really cool. And I have a question regarding the past life subject that we were talking about earlier. So my question is, because like given that people have a lot of different obsessions and hobbies and just things that they are attracted to naturally, so I wonder, you know, because typically people think like, oh, you know, you're born, then you have experiences, and then you start liking a certain, I don't know, whatever it is, like a hobby or whatever it may be. So my question is, could it be that maybe we are actually inclined to do certain things in our lives, like hobbies or just like things that we're obsessed with or just like super into, you know, and maybe it's because of a past life, like what we actually lived in the past, and then now we just brought it into this life. So could that be a possibility?
A good question.
Yeah, it is a good question, and it's absolutely the case that we're influenced by our own past. You know, certain things that we have talents in, like if there's a child prodigy in anything, whether it's a physical, you know, sport or instrument or art or anything like that, that child is not discovering this for the first time. That's something that they've brought with them. There's some really, I think that I really feel, like you said before, Joe, you know, this should be taught, right? We should be educated in this. I think the past life stuff is so important for us to understand. And I really like Jim Tucker's work. I don't know if you've had him on here, or you know, he's one of the he's continued the work of Ian Stevenson to work with a lot of children that remember their past lives.
Yeah, they start the ones that report. Yeah, I know exactly. That's some really fascinating stuff. People that can take you back to their own families or where they passed away and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's super compelling. And I was just thinking about what the caller just asked. There is a case there of a kid who's obsessed with planes, right? He just knows all these details about Second World War planes that are just ridiculous for any kid to know, right? And so it turns out he was a fighter pilot. He died in the Second World War. His plane was shot down. And that case, there's so many details to that case that I won't go into now, but it's super compelling, I think. I really find it hard to, I think any other explanation, you know, using Occam's razor, the simplest, solution is, or answer is the one that we should take, then past lives is what makes most sense to explain all of the.
I wonder if, like what she's asking too, and we only got a few minutes left here, but even if you, let's say, because obviously we've seen those shows like America's Got Talent, where you got like these 8-year-old kids that are amazing at piano and things like that. But even if you're, I think maybe what she's asking, and you can correct me here, Ali, is if you're being extremely called to something that you like to do and you're good at it, you know, maybe it's playing guitar or singing or something that you feel a heavy calling to that's constantly pulling on you. Do you find that that's related to a past life? Is that what you're asking, Ali, in a way?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I feel like sometimes you just feel like a certain connection to it, and you're like, where does this even come from? Or like a fascination for a certain topic, and you just can't stop reading about it. And you're like, I don't even know why I want to read about this or learn this. Like I wonder if maybe it's just connected to something in the past.
So the other element that we haven't talked about, and it's kind of the next level really, is planning. That many of us, before we came to this life, in the period between lifetimes, we planned this life. Like we made certain decisions of things that we wanted to do, and that can take various forms, but it can be quite involved, and it can include the things we want to study, the things we want to understand. And that too can be very compelling, that you kind of get these inklings, those inspirations. Oh, you want to explore this, you want to study that. And essentially, in those cases, it's because you're being propelled by yourself, in a sense, to move in the direction of your life purpose, why you're here, what you're here for.
All right. Does that answer your question, Allie? Do you have any other questions before we let you go?
No, I think that was good. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. It's good questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye. Take care.
I always wondered that too. Like sometimes I feel like and I've got, people that are close to me like this, like we're constantly studying, things like sacred geometry and some esoteric and occult literature, and they're super drawn to it. And then next thing you know, you're having dreams about it, and it's like, man, I had to have done that. You start feeling, I had to have done this in a past life. Hopefully you're not, putting it together in your head and it's false. But I think that's totally true. I think maybe we just got to start exploring this more. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're here to talk about, right? Is to evolve multidimensionally, right? So we can explore this stuff better.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think the past lives are a crucial piece to helping us, evolve and integrate. It's like expanding your psychological integration to another deeper level.
I guess my last question would be, before we let you go, is I did a past life regression live on the air with Daniel Alexa, and I got to tell you, it kind of just came out, but I wasn't totally unconscious either, or, and sometimes I think about it and I'm like, was that really my past life, or was I just kind of, because they say kids have imagination and they just say whatever's on their mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or is it, I don't know. What do you think about past life regressions? Just the regression methods.
I agree. I think we have to be, you've always got to use discernment around this stuff, because we can be influenced by things. We might be influenced by something we read when we were a child and we've forgotten about, or, movies we watched or whatever. So I tend to, for myself, the way I approach, so I've used a number of past life regressions, and I've also had spontaneous, probably, a few, like a handful or so of spontaneous memories during out-of-body states. With the regressions, I guess it's good to use, discernment, because you're also subject to the influence of the other person potentially, or their energies. We talked about that earlier, the way we might be able to influence each other,
right?
Through our energies and so on. And then really just, so I try to kind of avoid the story. I pay less attention necessarily to whatever the drama of the story is, that might go with it, and see whether the emotional content makes sense and somehow helps me, relates to my situation right now. That's really the key thing, I think. If it helps you resolve something or get more clarity on something you're dealing with in this life, then it's a worthwhile exercise,
Yeah, I think I was kind of answering, because he wasn't really leading me. He was just asking me, what do you see? Why this?
Yeah.
Why that? And every answer, usually, when you're totally conscious, here's the weird part that I never really told anybody, is like when you're totally conscious, you answer, you think about your answer, right? There's no emotion involved. But I was in a state where when I answered from kind of my emotion. There was no thinking about it or anything. It's just what kind of came out, you know. It was really weird, actually. I need to go back and listen to it. But yeah. Anyways,
it's good to listen to those things. If you have it recorded, it's good to listen to it again, and it might trigger some new, you know, reactions or memories or.
Right. Yeah. Since we only got like a minute, can you, since you spent all this time with us tonight, and I really appreciate it, Kim, can you plug away by all means? Tell everybody how they can get your book, how they can follow you on the web, anything that you got coming in the future, stuff like that.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, you know, Multidimensional Evolution is the name of my book. It's on Amazon and on our book depository and all those sort of places. Kindle edition and hard copy as well. And multidimensionalevolution.com is my website. There's a blog there, and I don't upload the podcast episodes anymore, so they are same name, Multidimensional Evolution. They're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all those other places where people leave podcasts. Right. And yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure right now. I'm working on some writing at the moment. Not running any workshops or anything like that at the moment, but if people follow along any of my social media or Facebook, yeah, you mentioned that, Multidimensional Evolution on Facebook, I'll let people know if I'm doing anything.
Fantastic, and thanks for coming on the show. It was good to have you, man. It was really good, really great conversation.
I really appreciate the invitation. It was a nice surprise.
Absolutely. Rohan, another one down, brother. You good? You ready to get out of here?
Awesome. That was brilliant. Thanks so much. It's been fascinating to listen.
Good to meet you, Rohan. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome. And maybe we'll do this again, guys. We're going to get out of here. The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gables coming up. We'll be back tomorrow night live at Open Lines Friday night. Live right here on the Fringe FM. Good night, y'all. Sweet dreams.